thinking about we should have won that Clipper game. I'm still thinking it would have been a sweet 4-in-a-row branch, but nevertheless, the Lakers did do what they had to do to regain their momentum or get their chemistry back after that Clipper loss. I thought the start of the game was really, good for the Lakers. They got out, they got some good shots, they got some good defense. The ball was moving. Rui was knocking down shots. But then that third quarter, they kind of collapsed and let Williams get to the bucket and get the lead back. But hey, they met the challenge, got it back together in the fourth, and executed well and spread the ball around. And Rui got hot again, and they were able to. And I think Hayes did a good job, protecting the rim. Marcus Smart had some plays where it kind of ignited them, and they just collectively did what they had to do in the fourth. But that third quarter, man, I was really upset with that third quarter. But it happens, teams come back, but it's how you react and recover, and they were able to do that.
James, Alley, I'm not going to lie. I looked at the standings about 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Figured out the Lakers lose. They would drop to 7th in the West, below that line. They'd be in that play-in tournament field. But no need to worry about that. They're still in 5th with a really, really captivating finish to that fourth quarter. Allie, how do you beat a downtrodden Dallas team at home? How about a 37-point fourth quarter by the Lakers? That's going to help you. And you alluded to Rui. To me, Rui is the X factor tonight. He absolutely won this game for them. The 4-point play followed up with a 3-pointer. He has not been hitting from deep this entire month. Remember, he was hurt, missed some time, lost his starting job. This is a big kudos to Rui game. 17 points. It's his best output since the first week of December, James. I mean, he hasn't played this well in a long, long time. And granted, he hasn't been himself physically. But tonight, wow, if they can get production like this from him, night in and night out, and the clutch part of it too, those 7 points in the final few minutes. Rui should get the game ball tonight for sure.
No doubt.
17 points, 6 of 13 from the field, 4 of 7 in 27 minutes of action for Rui. But for now, let's head back to Dallas. Marcus Smart is with Mike Trudell.
Marcus Smart, what a swing. I guess swings that we saw in this game, right? You have the excellent first half, then the rough third quarter. What did it take in the fourth quarter to turn things back in your favor?
It just took for us to lock back in. They came out. We missed a lot of easy shots. And I think they kind of got to us a little bit on the defensive end to where, we appreciate you. We was concerned about that, mad at ourselves because we can't miss those. And, they went on the run. And we did a good job of sustaining it, coming together and collecting ourselves and coming out with the win.
A number of key plays in crunch time from you. One of them, the offensive rebound. You had initially kicked the ball out. Can you just tell me about kind of reading the path of the basketball?
Yeah, so, Luka's been doing a good job. Him and LeBron doing a good job of, creating not only for themselves but for others, which they demand a lot of respect from other teams. So, they usually probably got more than one defender on them. And that opens the lane for guys like me to be able to go in there and, get offensive rebounds and then making the right play, finding the guy. Rui was hot, finding him, making sure he gets that ball.
How do you take some of this energy now as you go to Chicago and then, 4 more cities after that?
We got to bottle it up. We got to go look at the tape, look what we did right, look what we did wrong, fix the wrongs, stay with the rights.
Marcus, we appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys so much.
Big night there indeed from Marcus Smart as well on both ends of the floor, but it was about Rui Hachimura down the stretch. He finished with 17, as I mentioned. You see the numbers, the 4 of 7. He's been dealing with that calf injury and just his return, which he's been very candid about. It's just going to take some time and rhythm. But I think in the clutch and big moments for his confidence, big game, a shooter like he is, knowing how much and well he can impact this team. This is a big night for him.
Big night goes back to the big game winner. He shot when LeBron gave him that pass, and he knocked down the game winner. He's capable of doing this a lot. I mean, I think Rui's going to be, the X factor. I know, Austin Reeves is coming back, but I think this guy's, particularly off the bench, 31 points off the bench tonight. We were wrong. I didn't think they would get 20, but they were both. Rui came in and took care of that. So if he can continue this, I mean, he is a versatile player, shoots the 3, can shoot the mid-range, physical player, and tonight he demonstrated exactly what we've been looking for out of him.
trade deadline 12 days away. Not to belabor the point about Rui, but if they get this production from him consistently, and he came off the bench plenty in his time with the Washington Wizards, maybe they don't need to worry about getting a bench scorer. They still got that one empty roster spot, Allie, so they can go fishing for either a defender or a bench guy, unless, of course, they do a 2-for-1 trade or something like that, open up another roster spot. But bottom line, great game by Rui. On a kind of a weird night for the Lakers. You know, they were up a lot. They had a great first half. We were saying how poor they've been in the first half the last couple weeks, getting outscored by about 10 points every first half. But great job tonight. And then they really faded that third. Very impressive finish for them. On a night where DeAndre Ayton, James, the second best field goal percentage guy in the NBA, 4 for 16 tonight for DeAndre. Hey, Rui more than made up for that, that's for sure.
He sure did. I think, like we said, we didn't think the bench would get plus 20, but that was a big plus. And I just thought that, you know, they kept it together. You know, normally when a team comes back on you, and Dallas had the momentum in Dallas,
Yes.
Williams was getting layup after layup, and it's just like they were going to lose it. But they kept it together, realized that they needed not lose 2 in a row. And they executed down the stretch, and you know they showed some poise, and that's what they needed.
Coach D. Fish was seeing if he could get more eligibility for Crespi out of Williams, because he was incredible tonight. Let me tell you.
We weren't too far off from our pregame predictions when it came to Luka Doncic. He's averaging nearly a triple-double, 33-point triple-double versus his former team. And tonight, big game, he had 33. 8 rebounds, 11 assists. We thought he'd have maybe 12 this time around, but he was the second highest plus-minus guy at plus 18. He got to the free throw line. He was 14 of 15. What'd you see from his approach tonight?
Whenever you see a plus 14, plus minus for Luka Doncic, that's
Plus 18.
18. That's good production for him, because not only is he getting 33 points and 11 assists and 8 rebounds, he is, you know, getting to the line. He's, you know, controlling the game. He's getting other people involved, the pace, all of that. So this is a complete game for him going back into Dallas, and an emotional game for him anytime he goes back to Dallas. But getting to the line, you said 14 out of 15 times?
Yep.
That's some awesome Reed stuff right there.
Shocker here, James. Luka Doncic now 4-0 against his former team. He might go like 24-0 by the time all is said and done.
Will he ever be beat by the Mavericks?
Exactly. 44-0, however long he ends up playing in the NBA. Bottom line, you can see the excitement for him from start to finish in this game. Really nice kind of a period at the end of the paragraph, too. At the end of the game, Mark Cuban went up to him and hugged him. Mark was the former owner of the Mavericks, drafted Luka almost a decade ago. And he was the one who spoke up several weeks after that trade happened, almost a year ago to the day. And he said, you know what? How did we not get more than one draft pick, one first-round draft pick for this deal? And he was right. To this day, that's one of the biggest head scratchers. You get a nice young player, you know, and Max Christie, who had another good game tonight. You get AD, who's 6 years older than Luka, but at least he's an all-star with some defensive presence. But as Mark Cuban said, one first-round pick, and he's no longer the owner. He's a minority owner now of the Mavericks. But man, I agree with him. Should have gotten 11 first-rounders for a guy like Luka Doncic.
Shout out to him too. The note that was delivered on the broadcast about surprising fans with a suite that showed him support. And I say that from a standpoint too. He has fully embraced being a Los Angeles Laker.
Very
but
cool.
You knew exactly how much.
With Luka jerseys, and you know, hey, he's giving out bikes to his teammates here, giving out suites in Dallas. He's an NBA guy. Plays for the Lakers, but he's an NBA superstar. So wherever he goes, man, he's going to get good reception, and you know he's always friendly to fans. Talks a little trash to them too sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think they like that. I think they love Luka and what he represents as an NBA All-Star.
He kind of reminds me of Shaq. Shaq was so generous to the people of LA. And obviously, you know, Luka's no longer in Dallas, but he just seems like a real, genuinely happy to be here kind of guy. And I feel like Shaq, you know, the famous story, Ali, he found out that one of the equipment managers really had a broken down car. And Shaq's like, All right, that's too bad. The next day, there was a brand new pickup truck for the equipment manager. So obviously a guy like Luka reminds me of Shaq, just with the generosity and how cool. Going back to his old arena, as you mentioned, that's a great point. I'm so glad you brought it up. And saying, hey, I respect the fans here, especially the ones who supported me after the trade. I'm going to get you all in a suite tonight.
Look, if anyone's car breaks down here, Luka got them all e-bikes.
Right?
We still haven't got ours,
gas.
but I mean, hey, he's generous, just like that. Time to hear from Coach JJ Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
The intent to play the right way was there throughout the game. I thought the third quarter, offensively, we got some good looks. We had 7 turnovers in the quarter and missed 3 layups. And those turnovers allowed them to get out and run, get some transition points. They got at least 2 baskets after offensive rebounds. They scored after the missed free throw offensive rebound. So just, some errors, I would say. But basketball is a game of imperfect, and there's going to be errors. And our team stayed with our intent to play the right way. And, we had guys, Jake, Smart, Rui, of course, make some big time shots and big time plays on the offensive end. I thought our 15, our 1 through 5 when we went small, that defense with our activity and our shifts and our on ball containment. Luka had, we counted after the game, he had 6 straight stops where they targeted him. Just a fantastic job from him, and then makes sort of the game sealing defensive play with the charge on Marshall. He was fantastic in the fourth quarter, and just picked apart their defense down the stretch.
Switching with the small group, I think Kid also kind of matched up that small. Did you feel like you were able to get downhill a little bit and on the other end as well?
Yeah, I mean, they started that with Powell in the game, and then we just kind of spaced him in the corner. He was guarding LeBron, and Luka was able to get downhill. It was just our 3-1 spacing, and him going right. The good things are generally going to happen when you're small and you have shooting out there, and he made every single right read and play in that fourth down the stretch.
How vital was Smart's contributions down at this? I think when you fell down 15, you might have had an N1, and then he just got the line quickly after there, and then that one play where he breaks up, looked like a short.
Yeah, I mean, that might have, the defensive play in transition to get back, that could have been a real backbreaker, and it was a momentum-saving play. So was the first and one, where we were still a double-digit lead. We were having a little bit of trouble scoring in the half court, and he gets the and one, he gets the foul in transition, then he gets the putback. He's been playing fantastic basketball for us lately, and all season. But a lot has been asked of him over the last month, and he's stepped up and he's played great.
You often talk about how Rui can go stretches without touching the ball, and tonight he comes up with 2 big threes for you.
Yeah.
How is he able to stay engaged still like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're running some off-ball stuff for him, and. He's done a nice job. We've gotten great looks, really, really high quality looks for him. And he missed a couple early in the game, and then just he took his shots tonight, and we're all very confident in him. He's a laser. He's a fantastic shooter. The 4-point play followed by the 3, that 7-point swing where we're down 5 and go up 2 in the matter of 30 seconds was huge.
You mentioned his 6 straight stops, targeting him. What do you see out of him in general?
Greg St. Jean, when we were doing our defensive clips this morning, he had a great line, trust your help, don't rely on your help. And that was, that was to everybody. That wasn't to one person in particular. That was to everybody. We were, showing some really good shell clips and some poor shell clips. And, I thought he did a great job of containing the basketball, being physical with his first bump, outside the paint. One of them got called for a foul, side out of bounds on flag, but that was part of it. And then the backside with our shifts and our low man and our gang rebound mentality down the stretch allowed us to get stops.
JJ, you challenged functionally Luka to pass the basketball. How do you think you responded to that? And I guess, what does that say about your relationship with him? And let's say that you can directly challenge a player that good offensively.
Luka wants to win, and so I'm not surprised that he the A+. He played a fantastic game, and he orchestrated things for us early to get us the lead, and then he orchestrated things for us late, and he just continued to make the right play over and over and had a lot of confidence in his teammates, and his teammates responded with some big-time shots.
Yeah.
He's feeling it. He should.
I thought
see that,
something
Alex?
was happening over there. It's like,
She needs some water.
let's head back to Dallas. Luka's at the podium.
Luka's expression.
Luka, obviously your second time back here, I'm sure a lot different than the first time, but how would you describe kind of the emotions and the feelings of being back here and being back in this atmosphere?
Obviously there's always going to be emotions. I was happy to be back here. I went to my house, saw my cars, but obviously it's always going to be emotional. So, I really appreciate how they cheered for me when I was introduced, and it was always going to be a special place for me.
Earlier this week you said it always kind of feels like home coming back here. In what way?
I was here 7 years, spent a lot of things happen, bad and good. So, kind of describe it when I went to Madrid when I was 13. Every time I went back to Slovenia, I kind of feel good. So that's why I was always going to be a special place, like I said, for me.
Lucas, ¿y cómo te hace sentir después de un año ya ver tantos fans igual que siguen vistiendo tu camiseta y todo eso, o sea, todo el apoyo que te dan?
And then he broke up it looked like a shore basket for Cooper chasing it down.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a big time play, for us, and because we had something on the other end, kind of had a numbers game. We turned the ball over. Marcus didn't give up on the play. Was able to get a good, clean strip on Cooper, and then was able to come back. And I think that's when Jake hit the three. So that was a big time play.
LeBron, you've been teammates with Luka now for almost a year. You've been involved in some emotional traits in your career as well. What part of a player do you unlock maybe when you're kind of working through these emotional traits coming back to the city that you were traded in? And have you seen Luka achieve a new level to his game?
A new level to his game. I think the most important is just his comfort. Obviously when you get traded mid-season and, him spending his first 7 or 8 years here, obviously it was a shock to everybody. Everybody that was involved, everybody that wasn't involved to this whole sports world, but obviously him and, the guys that was involved in the trade. But, I think the biggest thing, with this year, is just a little bit, just more comfortable, understanding, understanding the system, understanding the city, the city embracing him, understanding that, this is his team. So, we're all rallying around him. And obviously we know it's kind of an emotional, / big game, when you come back and play your former team and, he show why he's, who he is tonight, obviously.
Any thoughts of Cooper Flag in his first few months in the league?
It's getting better and better each and every month.
He's got started the strip with the comeback in Denver, the late push against the Clippers, and obviously tonight's comeback. We've talked with JJ about the team's identity. How much do you feel maybe resiliency being a part of that identity? If it isn't already, hasn't been already?
We know we're one of the best clutch teams in the NBA, but we got to give ourselves an opportunity to just play more consistent basketball, the 48 minutes. And obviously we had some good minutes tonight. Obviously the third quarter was, pretty bad for us offensively and defensively. I think we gave 35, only scored 14. So outscored us by 19 that quarter. That's not good. But I thought, obviously in the fourth quarter we picked it back up. So for about 36 minutes.
Chicago, Tuesday in Cleveland, Friday in D.C., Sunday at MSG, and then the final game on the trip, February 3rd in Brooklyn. February 1st is on NBC, all others on Spectrum Sportsnet. So we head back to Dallas. Rui Hachimura is with Mike Trudell.
Hey, Rui, you've hit big threes for this team in the past. I know you're comfortable in those situations. Can you take me through kind of both of those plays and what you saw?
Yeah, I think we were sharing the ball today, and Luka was getting double teamed in the last quarter. I mean, the last 5 minutes. So I think that was a good look for us. We talk about you have to share. We had to share the ball and find each other, and I ended up shooting the last shot. So yeah, I think it was a good by team, the whole team.
Defensively, tonight you had a block, a number of possessions. Last game you had the shot clock violation, 8 rebounds today. Is there anything that you've been just even a little bit more locked in on that end that you've been seeing and finding other ways to contribute?
It's me? Oh, no, I just trying to be aggressive on both ends, It's my 4th or 5th game coming out of the injury to still just got off the minutes restriction too, so I think I'm trying to be more aggressive, especially coming off the bench, got to bring the energy. And yeah, I think that's why I ended up with those, defense blocks or whatever, all kind of stuff. So yeah, I got to keep doing that.
You have the percentages that suggest you're an excellent three-point shooter. Is there a mentality that comes with it? Like, you obviously get the late game 3 in Toronto, now the late game 3s tonight. Did you feel like a sniper out there?
No, really. I just like trying to, read the game and the moments. I'm not really like I wouldn't say myself a 3-point shooter or anything. It's just I think those are shots that I practice, and I do all different kind of stuff on the offense side. Just the mid range, to the rim, the threes, whatever the situation is. I think, and those last 2 shots was exactly the moments that we needed the threes, and we had a good ball movement. So yeah, I showed those threes here.
How much are you looking forward to getting Austin back as well, and you guys having a chance to be whole for the first time this season?
Yeah, I even forgot that he was on the team. He was going for a while, actually. I think since the Christmas, right?
Yeah. Second half, yeah.
We're so happy for him to be back. I know, of course, I want him to be, take the time and be easy on his calf and whatever that, because I just had the same thing. So you gotta be careful with that. But I think we need the dynamic of we had the great start of 20 games, and he was the biggest part of it, the 20 games. So we need the whole thing's back. He can, of course, create the offense and everything, and he can push the ball and everything. So I think we excited for him to be back.
Will the Lakers really stand pat at this trade deadline? We're less than 2 weeks away from February 5th, and I'm getting this sinking feeling that we've heard this song before. The franchise is sitting in 5th place in the West at 26-17, but they've dropped 8 of their last 13 games. The team has the worst 3-point shooting percentage in the league, ranks 23rd in defensive rating, and yet there are whispers that management prefers to wait until summer for significant moves. Meanwhile, Brooklyn is practically gift-trapping a veteran 3-and-D wing who could solve immediate problems. And Rui Hachimura finally showed signs of life coming off the bench in the Dallas victory. So what's the actual plan here? Are we just going to sit back and watch while Luka Doncic and LeBron James age another year? Or are we going to capitalize on the window we have right now? And more importantly, why the hell does this franchise keep recycling the same excuse we've heard for half a decade? Before we dive deep into all of this, if you're enjoying this type of straight-up analysis with no sugarcoating and no agenda, smash that like button. It really helps the channel and shows you want more of this kind of honest, direct content. Let's start with the most obvious opportunity sitting right in front of our faces. Haywood Highsmith, a 29-year-old wing currently with the Brooklyn Nets, hasn't played a single minute this entire season because of right knee meniscus surgery he had back in August 2025. This guy is 6 feet 5 inches with a proven track record of 3-point shooting, hitting 37.5% for his career on 2. 6 attempts per game, and in the 2 seasons before his injury, he knocked down 38.2% and 40% respectively. Defensively, he can guard positions 1 through 4 with legitimate versatility, exactly the profile the Lakers desperately need. The Nets are asking for just a second-round pick. That's it. One measly second round. And yet teams aren't rushing to the phone because there's the obvious risk of a player who hasn't stepped on an NBA court since getting operated on 5 months ago. Brooklyn doesn't want to risk bringing him back, having him get injured again, and losing all trade value. So they're keeping him sidelined until they can move him or until after the deadline. But here's the thing. For the Lakers, who literally have nothing to lose at this point, This is exactly the kind of high reward gamble that should be made without thinking twice. The team needs wing depth, needs defense, needs shooting. Highsmith checks every single one of those boxes when he's healthy, and the cost is basically nothing. Now, here's where things get really interesting. There's a proposal floating around that makes a ton of sense. The Lakers send out Gabe Vincent, who's making $11.5 million and contributing absolutely nothing of value this season, along with Dalton Knecht, who's fallen to 12th in minutes per game on the roster after starting his rookie year strong but clearing 231. 1% from 3 this year, plus a second-round pick to Brooklyn. In return, they get Haywood Highsmith and Cam Thomas. Thomas is a 6 feet 4 inches combo guard averaging 17 points in just 24 minutes per game this season. A legitimate shot creator who could solve the Lakers' chronic bench scoring problem, which is literally the worst in the entire league. He's not efficient, he's not an elite defender, but he's a guy who can grab the ball and create his own shot when the offense stalls. Something this team completely lacks when Luka or Austin Reeves are on the bench. And the best part, this move still leaves the Lakers with Maxi Kleber, Rui Hachimura, and their first-round pick available to make another move if necessary. You clear the roster of 2 guys who aren't contributing at a veteran 3-and-D wing and an explosive bench scorer, and still maintain flexibility. The Nets would lose both these players in free agency anyway. So getting Knecht, a young guy with potential, and a second-rounder for players walking away for nothing is pure profit for them. Thinking it through, this type of aggressive but smart move is exactly what the franchise should be doing right now. Not waiting until July to maybe, possibly, who knows, get something done. Now, switching gears entirely, let's talk about the Dallas victory. The Lakers won 116-110 in a game that had everything: first half dominance, a third quarter collapse, and a fourth period explosion with 37 points that saved the night. Luka Doncic led with 33 points, 11 assists, and 2 rebounds. Returning to Dallas for the second time since the trade, that still doesn't make sense to anyone who understands basketball. This was his first trip back since the firing of Nico Harrison, the architect of that infamous departure. LeBron had 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. With a catalytic fourth quarter where he really put his foot on the gas, Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart contributed 13 points each, and Jared Vanderbilt even hit a couple threes, which was a pleasant surprise. But the big story of the night was Rui Hachimura coming off the bench. He put up 17 points, 8 rebounds, nailed 4 triples, and finished with a team-leading +21 rating. Rui's been coming off the bench the last few games due to minutes restrictions following his calf injury, and he's clearly still getting his rhythm back, especially playing with different rotations than he was used to in the starting lineup. But in that fourth quarter, when JJ Redick decided to go small because DeAndre Ayton was having a horrific night, going for 4-16 from the field, missing easy layups, and looking completely discouraged, Rui stepped in and hit 3 crucial threes. The Lakers starting 5 with Luka, LeBron, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia. And DeAndre Ayton has an offensive rating of 123, the best in the NBA, and a defensive rating of 114.6, which would be 16th in the league. When you put Rui in that mix instead of a traditional center, the team can go small, space the floor, and still have enough size to compete. And this is absolutely critical because this team desperately needs bench scoring. If Rui can maintain this consistency coming off the bench, especially knocking down threes at a decent clip, it solves one of the roster's biggest problems. And when Austin Reeves comes back, which according to JJ Redick should happen sometime during this 8-game road trip, you'll have even more depth and versatility. Rui will probably still close important games, especially when the Lakers need to go small. So he's not losing his impact role, he's just in a different function. The guy is one of the team's best catch-and-shoot players. And when he's hitting from 3, the entire offense opens up. I genuinely believe that if Rui continues producing like this could actually be the unlocking factor this team's been searching for off the bench. But now we get to the frustrating part of all this. According to multiple reports, the Lakers are apparently going to punt until summer for significant roster upgrades. The justification. There's no single move that can be made in the next 2 weeks that would address all of the team's problems. Franchise sources are citing Dallas as an example, saying it took time for the Mavericks to build their optimized roster around Luka, and that the Lakers need more athleticism, shooting, and defense to replicate what Dallas had. No deadline move will check more than one of those boxers. So the real work will happen in the summer when they'll potentially have up to 3 first-round picks to use in trades. And look, I understand the logic in theory. It really does make sense not to make a desperate move just for the sake of making a move. But this is absolutely ridiculous in practice because we've heard this exact story literally half a dozen times over the last 5 years. How many times in the LeBron era have we heard that the trade deadline market is dried up, that there aren't moves available, and that we'll wait until summer? And what happened in all those summers? Practically nothing of real impact. And now we're going to do the same thing in the Luka Doncic era. A 27-year-old player in February who's leading the league in scoring at 33 points per game, averaging nearly 9 assists, and in the absolute prime of his career. We're going to waste another year of a first-team All-NBA superstar because Rob Pelinka wants to wait until July to see what shakes loose. And the Dallas blueprint comparison is even more insulting. If you really want to use Dallas as the model, then look at what they actually had. 3 elite 3-and-D players in Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington and Derek Lively Jr., who was an athletic lob threat and phenomenal rim protector. They had versatility, size, defense, and players who knew their roles perfectly. This Lakers roster isn't even close to that. Marcus Smart is good, okay? He fits. But the rest, where are the athletic wings who can defend multiple positions? Where's the consistent rim protection? DeAndre Ayton is averaging 6.6 points and 8.2 rebounds on a $16.6 million salary and clearly has effort and consistency issues. And the part about having 3 first-round picks in the summer, that's kind of misleading. To have that 3rd pick from 2026 available, you need everything mapped out perfectly because you can't trade picks in consecutive years. You can only trade the 2026 pick after the draft. So you'd have to coordinate with another team to select a specific player and then trade them. And the 2031 pick only becomes available after the 2026 one is used. You never actually have 3 picks at the same time to use in a package. It's all about timing and coordination. And it's not as simple as the narrative makes it sound. Plus, the value of the Lakers' future picks has decreased considerably now that they have Luka Doncic and are trying to compete. Nobody's going to give maximum value for a 2031 pick from a team that'll potentially be in the playoffs for the next several years. The current strategy, according to recent reports, is that the Lakers are trying to package Jared Vanderbilt, who makes $10.7 million, and Gabe Vincent together to get a wing. And the really interesting part is they're trying to trade their 2032 first-round pick for multiple lesser picks in earlier years, exactly like the Phoenix Suns did last year when they traded their 2031 pick to the Utah Jazz and received 3 lesser picks in 2025, 2027, and 2029. The idea is that by having 2 or 3 picks instead of one big one, you can assemble more flexible packages like Vincent plus Vanderbilt plus a first, or Vincent plus Kleber plus 2 picks. That would give more pieces to work with. But here's the problem. Dalton Knecht, who was supposed to be the steal of the 2024 draft as the 17th pick, isn't generating any trade value around the league. He's fallen dramatically in the rotation, shooting poorly, and nobody wants to bet on him right now. Vanderbilt and Vincent also aren't generating significant interest because their contracts aren't attractive and their production doesn't justify the salary. The dream targets remain Herb Jones and Trey Murphy 3 from New Orleans, but the Pelicans aren't trading either one. Jones would cost at least 2 first-rounders. Murphy would cost 3. They're not available, period. The realistic targets now are Jonathan Kuminga from Golden State, who requested a trade on January 5th, 10th and is available, Keon Ellis from Sacramento, and possibly Andrew Wiggins, who was linked to Miami, but whose asking price was too high. Kuminga makes sense. Young, athletic, versatile, two-way wing. Exactly the profile. But Golden State knows the Lakers have interest and could ask for too much. Ellis would be cheaper, but less impactful. Either way, standing pat and doing nothing is the worst case scenario. You have 2 Hall of Famers on the roster, you have a window right now, and you're going to waste that waiting until summer because Rob Pelinka can't manufacture for you. Not every year do you have 2 legends like this playing together. This isn't a transition year. You need to capitalize. Honestly, looking at all of this makes me wonder if we've actually learned anything from the last 5 years of mistake after mistake. But let's talk about something that's actually gone right recently. Drew Timme, the 25-year-old former Gonzaga star who went undrafted in 2023 and bounced around multiple G League teams, has finally gotten his opportunity with the Lakers. and he's making the most of it. In the last 3 games, he's played meaningful minutes. Timme has shown exactly why he was such a force in college. Against Portland on January 18th, he dropped a career-high 21 points on 9 for 12 shooting in 29 minutes. Against Toronto the next night, he played 16 minutes, contributing 3 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds with solid defense. Then, against Denver on January 21st, he scored 9 points in 11 minutes, including a crucial cutting layup off a LeBron pass that tied the game at 88-88 in the fourth quarter. LeBron has been raving about Timme's basketball IQ, saying he's a smart basketball player who knows how to play the game and that his IQ correlates to this level. After Timme's 21-point game in Portland, LeBron said his offensive contributions could help the Lakers in the long run if we continue to play him. What's impressive about Timme isn't just the scoring, it's the versatility and feel for the game. He's Gonzaga's all-time leading scorer. And that wasn't just because he could score on the post. He's got excellent footwork, soft touch around the rim, can knock down the occasional three-pointer. He's hit at least 1 3 in each of the last 3 games. And most importantly, he can facilitate from the post and the short roll. When the defense collapses on Luka or LeBron, Timme knows how to find the open man. He made a critical play before that cutting layup against Denver, sealing 2 defenders to create a lane for LeBron to attack. That's high-level offensive awareness. Redick even joked before the Clippers game that he had to tell Timme to be more aggressive, saying, "You're in the post, go to work." I put the ball in your hands for a reason. The confidence is growing. Now, Timme does have defensive limitations. His lateral quickness and foot speed aren't elite, which could be exploited in certain matchups. But we're not asking him to be Mark Gasol in the 2021 championship run. We're just asking him to be a functional big who can provide solid minutes, space the floor a bit, and be an offensive hub when needed. With DeAndre Ayton struggling for consistency and Jackson Hayes dealing with hamstring issues, having Timme as a reliable 3rd or 4th big is actually huge. And the fact that LeBron is publicly endorsing him carries weight. LeBron doesn't throw around praise lightly, especially for young players still trying to find their footing in the league. When he says Timme's an NBA player here, first pointing to his head, that's a significant cosign. I truly think Timme could carve out a real role on this team if they give him consistent minutes. The question is whether management will actually commit to that, or if he'll disappear from the rotation once everyone gets healthy. And speaking of health, let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to address, the LeBron and Jeanie Buss drama. On January 21st, a bombshell report from Baxter Holmes dropped detailing the Lakers' sale to billionaire Mark Walter and exposing a lot of Buss family info. But buried in that report was some explosive information about Jeanie Buss allegedly turning against LeBron James over the years. According to the report, Buss was frustrated by LeBron's outsized ego and the control that he and Clutch Sports exerted over the organization. She reportedly bristled when LeBron arrived in 2018 and was considered a savior for a floundering franchise rather than the Lakers being lauded for landing him. The biggest point of tension. The Russell Westbrook trade. When that disaster unfolded, Buss was reportedly upset that LeBron didn't take accountability for pushing for the move, instead letting management take all the blame. The friction got so bad that Buss privately mused about trading LeBron, potentially to the Clippers in 2022. She was also reportedly not pleased when LeBron didn't seem sufficiently grateful after the Lakers drafted his son Bronny in 2024. LeBron's response, absolutely perfect. When asked about the report before the Clippers game on January 23rd, he basically shrugged it off. Quite frankly, I don't really care about articles. I really don't. I don't care about stories. I don't care about podcasts and all that type of shit. Nah, they don't bother me. I'm 41 years old and I watch golf every day. I don't care about an article. I don't care how somebody feels about me. If you know me personally and you know what I'm about, my teammates know what I'm about, and that's all that matters. He added that he's played in Los Angeles longer than any franchise except Cleveland, 7 years plus 4 years. And that his entire mindset coming to LA was about restoring excellence to one of the NBA's most iconic organizations. He pointed out that since arriving in 2018, he's represented the franchise with the utmost respect and honor and dignity, and I would say loyalty. Jeanie Buss quickly issued a statement trying to walk it back, saying it's really not right, given all the great things LeBron has done for the Lakers, that he has to be pulled into my family drama. To say that it wasn't appreciated is just not true and completely unfair to him. She even changed her Instagram profile picture to a photo of her and LeBron embracing after the 2020 championship. LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, was even more direct, asking who gives a shit. You don't know what's true what's not true. But where there's smoke, there's fire. Paul went on to essentially dismiss the entire report as clip. Here's my take on this. Whether the report is 100% accurate or not, the fact that it exists at all points to a real issue. You don't get this kind of detailed reporting about friction between ownership and your franchise superstar if there's no basis for it whatsoever. And honestly, some of Jeannie's alleged complaints are absurd. You're upset that LeBron James, one of the greatest players in NBA history, is viewed as a savior when he chose to come to your franchise that had missed the playoffs for 5 straight years. You're mad that he's got influence in the organization. That's what superstars do. They have influence. Kobe had influence. Magic had influence. Every great player who's ever worn a Lakers uniform has had input on how the team operates. That's not an ego problem. That's just reality. And the Russell Westbrook thing, glum. Yes, LeBron pushed for that trade. But Rob Pelinka is the general manager. It's his job to push back on bad ideas and make the right basketball decision. You can't blame LeBron for advocating for a former teammate and then get mad when it doesn't work out. That's literally Pelinka's job, to evaluate and execute trades properly. If you're upset about the Westbrook disaster, be upset with the GM who pulled the trigger, not the player who suggested it. The truth is, LeBron has done nothing but elevate this franchise since arriving in 2018. He delivered a championship in 2020 during a pandemic. He's been a model professional, even as the roster around him has been mismanaged repeatedly. He's played through injuries, mentored young players, and maintained the Lakers' relevance even in down years. To have ownership privately musing about trading him because he's not grateful enough is genuinely insulting. But LeBron handled it perfectly. He didn't take the bait, didn't create a bigger story, just brushed it off like the veteran he is and kept it moving. And here's where we stand today, January 25th, 2026. The Lakers are 26-17, sitting 5th in the West, coming off a comeback win against Dallas where Luka returned to his former home and dropped the 8th of November 33. Rui Hachimura is showing real value, coming off the bench with 17 points and team-leading +21 rating. Timme has emerged as a legitimate rotation piece with LeBron's full endorsement. Austin Reeves is expected back sometime in the next 10 days, which will be huge for the backcourt depth. Marcus Smart dislocated his right index finger, deflecting a pass in the fourth quarter against Dallas, bent over in pain, popped it back in, and kept playing. That's the kind of toughness this team needs, but the trade deadline is 11 days away. The franchise has real opportunities sitting right in front of them. Haywood Highsmith for basically nothing, a potential package to get Cam Thomas and solve bench scoring. The ability to convert their 2032 first into multiple picks for more flexibility. Jonathan Kuminga is available. There are moves to be made, but instead of being aggressive and capitalizing on having the Hall of Famers in their prime window, we're hearing the same tired excuse about waiting until summer. We've been down this road before, multiple times, and it never works out the way management thinks it will. The Lakers are good enough to make the playoffs. They're probably not good enough to win a championship as currently constructed. That gap can be closed with 1 or 2 smart moves before February 5th. The question is whether Rob Pelinka has the courage to actually make them, or if we're going to waste another year of Luka and LeBron waiting for some mythical perfect summer opportunity that may never come, so Idiwiari. 3 available trade options in Highsmith Thomas, and whoever else can be pried loose with a pick package. An important victory against Dallas with Rui finally showing bench value. And a front office that apparently wants to repeat the same mistakes of the past by waiting for summer miracles instead of solving problems now. The deadline is February 5th. Let's see if Rob Pelinka finally acts, or if we're going to hear the same excuse all over again.